Jacob with the Skill Tree team, and in this part we're going to make your game actually feel like a game. Here we're going to start to implement a score system, we're going to implement collisions and sound effects. These are some essential mechanics that take your project from a cool animation to something people actually want to play. Let's get started. First of all, we're going to do some rules and scoring, which every game needs to track progress. In Scratch, we're going to do that with variables. So first off, go to the variables category and click make a variable. Name it score, and make sure it's set for all your sprites. You'll see it pop up on your stage automatically. And now at the start of your game, you want to set the score back to 0. So under your green flag, add set a score to 0 block. That way, every new game starts fresh. Next is when does the score go up? That depends on your game. Maybe your player collects coins, dodges enemies, or reaches a goal. Whatever the action is, use a change score by 1 block, or by 5, or 10. However you want the reward to the player. You can put this inside an if block so it triggers at exactly the right moment.
Let's do a little bit more coding here. So now following, we need to start making sure that when the ball touches one of these borders, you get a point. So let's score. Let's actually make a second score block for player 2. That's score and score 2. And then at the beginning, as usual, we'll set both scores to 0. The next thing we'll do is we're going to make sure that the ball, just like for the paddles, returns to the center of the screen. So now we can test that. Boom. Alright. Now we also want the ball to point in a certain direction. Let's say -90. And we're also going to add a forever block and going to add another if block as well. And we're also going to add move. The purpose of this is we want the ball to move going in a certain direction, as you see here. That's why we rotated the ball. So that way the paddles can come in contact with it when they need to. We're also going to add the stipulation of if it's on the edge, bounce. So this makes sure that it doesn't go over the top part of the screen or here, or the bottom part of the screen down here. We're also going to add something called an OR statement. This is a type of operator, so anything like plus, minus, your mathematics, greater than, less than, that if either of these things are true, it'll do something. This is also an important block because this makes sure for the collision that as soon as this ball touches one of these paddles, it's going to turn and go in a certain direction. So now let's add if it's touching a certain sprite. This can be mouse pointer, edge. If it's touching the paddle, ooh, we may have to drag it out first. There we go. If it's touching either one of the paddles, all we want it to do is go back over here. We want to turn to the right some random amount of degrees between 150 and 180. And all this makes sure is that it's tilted a little bit and it bounces off. Ooh, forgot to add a pick random there, 7 to 11 steps. So that way, sometimes it'll move faster, sometimes it'll be a little bit slower. Let's test that out quick. Look at that. Now, as you notice, even when it touches the top, it's still bouncing off. But notice the ball, right? As sometimes a little slower, sometimes a little faster. That is exactly the behavior that we want. So what we'll work on next is changing the score for the actual game.